While I was at PAX East this past week, I got the chance to try a ton of upcoming indie games. And of all the ones I played, here's the ones you need to add to your wishlist. The first game we have to talk about is Bread and Fred, which caught my eye because of the art style. It literally looks like a carbon copy of Celeste, and I love that game, but this plays nothing like it. That's not a bad thing. Instead, it's a co-op puzzle game. Think of games like It Takes Two and Unravel. You play as these cute little penguins that are tied together, and work with a buddy to scale this giant mountain. The moveset's very simple to understand, but it takes time to master, especially when playing with someone else. So many obstacles require precise timing from both you and whoever you're playing with, and communication is key. I can't tell you how many times we missed the most simple of jumps because we just failed to get on the same page beforehand, so you really have to work together. But to make it a little easier, you can trigger a countdown whenever you want, so you can make sure you move in sync. And even still, no matter how bad you are at the game, there's a super generous checkpoint system that has you covered. You can place a flag anywhere on the mountain and get back up there with the click of a button. The progression's a lot like the game Get Over It, but thanks to the flags, it's way less rage-inducing. They really thought it through to make a game that's both challenging and low stress. It's a great game to play with a friend. But even if you're alone, there's a single-player mode that's arguably just as fun. The second penguin becomes a rock, and you have to carry it around and use it for leverage, which makes you go through those same challenges in a completely new way. It's a whole different feeling experience, but the multiplayer's the highlight by far. Right now, it's only planned to release on Steam, but I find it hard to believe it won't eventually make its way to the Switch. It would work perfectly on the console. We only played the demo in our short time there, and that same demo is available on Steam right now, so if this looks up your alley, go give it a shot. Hell of an Office is a speedrun-centric first-person platformer. If you've played Siam, Speedrunners from Hell, or Neon White, you know exactly what you're getting with this one. You race through these stages as fast as possible, using all your different abilities, and try not to die. There's a lot of unique mechanics in this game though, and after every set of 10 levels, you're introduced to a new gameplay gimmick that compounds with everything else. You start with just a dash, and a half hour later, you're shooting these fireballs through paperwork, launching yourself skyward, and maneuvering wind tunnels that have these wacky physics. Keeping track of everything gets tough very quickly, in a good way. At first, the movement felt a bit weird compared to what I was used to, but by the end, I much prefer it to its comp games. I used to play Siam all the time, but going back to it after this, it feels so much more restricted. This game doesn't really give you any breathing room. There's constant action, and it hardly ever feels like you're on solid ground. But damn, it's so satisfying to zip through these levels, and felt super rewarding to finally beat one after like 100 attempts. I did it! I did it! I also enjoyed that they combined the typical Hell vibe with a corporate office space. Very fitting. Joystick Ventures has done a great job with this one, and it's actually in early access now, so if you want to get on the ground floor, now's the time. This is probably the coolest game we tried this weekend. It's been out for a while now, but we got a sneak peek and an update that's coming very soon, and it's a major one. The base game screams Super Nintendo action-adventure platformer, taking main inspiration from the Mega Man X games, if you didn't pick up on that already. It also borrows elements from Castlevania, Contra, and Metroid, combining all their best traits into one nice package. It's got such an awesome gimmick though. The levels are randomly generated when you play through the main game, so no two playthroughs will be the same at all. While there is a limited number of level themes and what are essentially building blocks, the way they're constructed is different every single time, and it makes the game infinitely replayable. There's two characters to play as too, and both of them have a unique set of abilities that entirely change the way you play. And yeah, multiplayer is supported, and it's really good. It's not as cooperative as something like Bread and Fred, but that doesn't make it less fun. You just run around, explore, and blow shit up. If that's not enough for you, just skip to the next game. This one's going for 20 bones, and that's a pretty reasonable price when you consider the fact that there's an endless amount of content. But the new update is really what solidifies its value. They're adding a level creation tool, and a way better one than we've seen anywhere else. That's partially because it's designed with the mouse in mind, which is so much easier than using a controller, but that's just the icing on the cake. These levels can be massive. Where something like Mario Maker has a limited length, this one literally just keeps going.
I'm going to show you how big a level can be. Ready?
Yep.
It can get kind of big.
So you can make these giant exploration-centric worlds for people to play through. Or you can keep it super linear and combat focused. There's a million different ways you can use it. And just like Mario Maker, you can upload these levels online when you're done. But they have a way more advanced ranking system than that game. You can filter by difficulty, weapons, character, and tags, but new is the quality meter, which records likes and dislikes, skips, crashes, and quits, and formulates a universal quality score for each level. So where Mario Maker's hard levels can have a mix of well-designed stages and jank Kaizo bullshit, you can decide how polished or unpolished you want your specific experience to be, and it's far more accurate. It's a really well-designed system that makes a lot of sense, and since it's not made by Nintendo, they'll be improving it constantly based on player feedback. I'm really excited for this project, and I won't lie, I've been playing it a ton since I got home, and that level creation tool is going to be a game changer, so I really can't wait for that. There's a plethora of virtual reality bowling games at this point, but they all try to be simulators, and with VR controllers, it's impossible to provide the feeling and weight of a real bowling ball. Pin City understands that, and instead of trying to feel as realistic as possible, it puts a mini-golf twist on your typical bowling gameplay, and makes it crazy fresh. Instead of standard lanes, you're rolling a ball through an obstacle course. Think of it like the Switch Sports mode, but way more creative and in-depth. It's still in pretty early stages of development. There's only a short demo right now, but the 5 minutes I got to try sold me on their mission, and I got to speak with both developers afterward. The audio's not that great, so I'll summarize it real quick. They're aiming to have around 50 to 80 levels, and their main focus is on the single player experience, though we can expect multiplayer down the line. It's just the two of them working on it right now, and they've got day jobs. Hella respect for their grind. But that also means it's gonna take a lot longer to develop. I can almost guarantee it'll be worth it though. This clip says it all.
Doing things that would get you thrown out of normal bowling alleys.
I really love the way he put that. VR games should take an experience we all know and accentuate it to levels that we can't really reach in the real world. The future for it seems bright, and if you have any way to play VR games, go give it a try now and give them your feedback on Twitter. One of my favorite indie developers wasn't able to make it to PAX though, so if you're curious about their new futuristic VR shoot 'em up, you can learn more about it in the video on screen.